What's up, old power ass crew? Have y'all thought I've been like totally falling off the map? I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I want to catch you guys up on some stuff. Now, during the cooler months, it's really hard for me to get videos done. Okay, so confession, like at the beginning of the cool season, deer season, I'm in the woods a lot. My dad and I, we go hit the woods, we hang out, we do our thing. So probably through this next deer season, I'm going to try to have my videos run ahead enough that I can keep releasing them through season. But I'm not going to stop deer hunting because, hey, my dad and I hang out, we have a good time. I have shot some video, but it's not organized or complete enough to release. But it's been on this rig right here. Notice, no engine, no transmission, trailer tongue. That's right. Now, this is a 1997 Jeep Cherokee XJ that I'm converting into a camper rig. So I have made some progress. Let me show you what I've gotten done. Now, the one video I've released on this rig is my tail lights and my marker lights going down the side. It's got legal lights on it now. And actually, it's completely pullable at this point. Pullable, towable, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Now, the side marker lights consist of amber, red, and white. White is going to be the puddle lights. You turn on puddle lights to light up the ground a little bit. One, to give you a little bit of ambiance, that you've got that halo thing going on. And you know, if you step out right here from a good sleep, you have to use the business, it'll light up the bottom right here so you can see what's going on. I am going to put some more lights on the bottom up to light up a little bit better. And as I said in the last video, somebody's going to call me out. Well, if this thing's going to be an overlander, aren't you going to drag it like across rocks and stuff? Good possibility, but not likely. I'm mostly building this thing because I want to take some road trips. Like, I want to go to the Florida Keys and probably somewhere around the Virginias and the Carolinas, just do some traveling. And this thing right here, I can stop wherever I want to. Will it eventually make it off-road? There's a good possibility. But if I do, I'll build me some rock sliders into the bottom of it to help protect the lighting and stuff. So if it gets to that point, we'll take care of that. So up front, I've got some junk signs right here that's kind of covering up the holes where the heater core and steering wheel and all that, the steering column, all that stuff went through. I'm definitely going to do something that looks a little bit better than that. That's just like, ew, tacky. Tongue's built. Tongue goes all the way back up inside the frame. I mean, literally, this member here and this member here goes inside the frame. It's welded, clamped as in it's got pieces of steel right here that sandwiches from the outside of the frame that squeezes all that together here and inside there. We're using half-inch 20 half-inch bolts. I almost said half-inch 20, half-inch 13, I think it is. That's holding all that together, and right there is like what I'm going to call a T-member that welds to the end of this, end of that, goes through the frame. Now you see here's the factory cross member that is bolted and welded to the frame member right there. So it's got great even weight distribution in the front end right here. I actually know what the tongue weight is on this thing. Now how do I know the tongue weight? Well, simple. I have a crane scale. I took my cherry picker, my engine puller, put it up the front of it, hung a crane scale on the end of the tongue right there, picked it up with the cherry picker, then I could see what the weight of the tongue is. I'm not going to tell you what it is, sorry. Not yet. The reason being is that whenever I figure out the whole YouTube rules and regulations about running giveaways and stuff, I'm going to ask you guys, what's the tongue weight? The one who guesses closest, I'm going to send them a t-shirt or something like that. I don't know. Don't be dropping in the comments guessing right now. I may end up taking it over on my Instagram account, which I'll put that right there, or maybe my Facebook account. I don't know. I just got to figure out the rules and regulations because I don't want to get my channel banned for not following the proper directions or rules or regulations. You guys have no idea how much headache and how much trouble it is to run a YouTube channel. But I enjoy doing it because it gives you guys education about lots of fix-it, fabrication, or cool ideas. And it kind of pays for my toys too, so hey. Well, it does when it's actually making money. It ain't making squat right now. Here's my 91 YJ, the star of the YouTube channel. Ain't she sexy? So back to the tongue. I did film the process of all the fabrication work and stuff. Details about how I attach to the frame. There's a few more things I need to do to it. Then I'll start releasing the video on all that. So I have shot the video on the tongue showing how I did it. Now as for this firewall thing going on right here, that is just ugly. So my plans is, I've got the fenders still. I'm gonna bring the fenders out to about right along in here or so, or maybe a little bit further out. I gotta figure that out when I start doing the fab work. I've got the factory grill for it, the 97 XJ grill. I'm gonna put that in place. So I'm gonna have the factory grill and portion of the fenders coming out. but I just got sitting down in a head scratch how I'm going to tie all that stuff together and still make it look good. I've still got the hood, and so it's kind of like I want the front end to look factory XJ-ish, but that's something I still got to figure out how I'm going to pull that off, because right now I'm trying to get the interior built so I can take this and go camping. So what have I got done on the interior? So right here we have a 12-volt refrigerator. It's not very big. Get big enough to get the job done. There's your adapter right here that if you want to take this, say, from 12 volt to 110 volt, it has a adapter right there that you can plug that into a wall, or cigarette lighter here to power this right here is 12 volts. I've had it hooked up. It actually works pretty good. I like it. Has a little panel right there. You adjust your temperature, high or low, a little readout right there. It's pretty cool. I like it, honestly. Now, if you have an extended cab truck or a quad cab, a 4-door cab or something like that, this will be pretty handy. Keep this behind the seat. That way you can reach back there and pick out your drinks or your snacks, your food, whatever you may have back there. You just hook up your 12 volt to your cigarette lighter, or if you've got some kind of power port in the back or something like that, you can do a 110 power port, or you can do 12 volt, either one, with this contraption here. So you can have your snacks and your drinks, keep them nice and cool. No stopping at the truck stops or convenience stores, buy another bag of ice. And yes, some of you got to bring up those little gel packs. You know, they kind of look like pillows. You throw them in the freezer and you freeze them up and everything. You throw them in your cooler and stuff. Those are handy until they thaw out. But if you're on the road, how are you going to freeze them again? So that right there will be super handy on road trips. Or XJ Camper rigs. Yeah. So for cooking, right now I'm looking at this Coleman stove right here. This is one you take the little propane tank, you screw it on, 2-burner system. This is kind of framed out to fit that, obviously, but I've also got in the house a what you call a breakfast station, which is this little contraption right here. It's kind of like a 3-in-1 thing. We've got our little stove right here, we've got a cooktop, and we've got a coffee pot. And as you can see, it does make coffee because, well, see the condensation? That's this morning's coffee right there. You pour the water in right there, and it percolates through that filter right there and drops down to your decanter right there. It makes about 3 cups, which is plenty fine for me because I use those shaker bottles, like you mix your protein shakes up and stuff. And I use those shaker cups for just about everything. I've got quite a few of them because back in my day, I used to run 5K obstacle courses, so I was all into the protein shakes and all that kind of fun athletic stuff. But then one thing led to another, and I got lazy and stopped doing it. Well, I went from a 6-pack to a pony keg, so I did get back into it, honestly. But back to this. So then we got our little oven, a little personal pan pizza will fit in there just fine. Actually, I've already made meatballs in this thing. It worked out really well. And I have yet to use my little grill top here. It's coming soon. I started to fry some eggs on it this morning, but I thought, nah. So you take your little switcher here, coffee pot off, then you got your grill or oven, or come over here to do coffee. Well, if you got it on the off over here, you take and turn this to your grill, toast, bake, or warm and heat, or right here it's in the off position, and then of course you got your timer right there. And yes, it runs off of 110 volt. I know y'all thinking you ain't got 110 of that. So what I've got is a big huge power inverter and a really big battery. And for you RV nerds that wants to know the stats on the battery, here you go. 1125 cold cranking at 0 degrees, 975 amp, or what really matters, 145 amp hour capacity at 20 hours. I came across these batteries here, and there were some going to get recycled or disposed of or whatever, and I was basically told to get them out of there if I wanted them. So I got the proper documentation that allowed me to take them out, and well, guess what? I got really big batteries. Actually, I got 2 to a buddy of mine, and I still got 3 or 4 left, something like that. So definitely 1 going to this, if not 2. And that's really going to depend on how much amp load I'm going to put on the whole electrical system in here. Now, I still got to finalize all those numbers, so I'm not 100% sure. At this point right now, I'm going to have probably this little cook station right here instead of the Coleman stove. Of course, my 12 volt lighting going on here. Now up here's where the dashboard used to be. You can see right there's my electrical switches to activate all my lighting and stuff like that. I'm going to replace that with a different panel at one point, but because we were working on houseboats on the side, that's how I ended up with stuff like this. We replaced bridges or whatever, and I'd end up getting a lot of the scrap parts left off of it. This thing has a ton of switches, as you can see, so as I wire everything up inside here, you can see I've got some of the wire come back around through here, Going back here, that's mostly tail light wiring right there, but this right here fell down. It was hanging up there. Switch for that, and I've got some ambiance lights right here, meaning they're just 12 volt LEDs, but you got a little rotary knob. You can make them brighter or dimmer. I'm not sure that I'm going to leave those in yet. Once I get the headline around, I'm going to figure out how to make them look good. So speaking of electrical, we got these things right here that are pretty bright, obviously hanging off the hatch. So if you're right here doing your kitchen thing, turn on those lights, you've got lighting of your little kitchen area here. But using that switch like that, once I figure out how many wires I'm going to have in the system, then I can order me something like this right here with the proper amount of switches and keep that as my setup panel. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this thing once I get it built. I'm going to take me a couple road trips and stuff. I may get rid of it after I'm done. I don't know. So if I ever decide to sell it, you know, that Gibson panel stays with me, because that's something my dad and I did for years. He had that in his stash up at his house, and he said, hey, you could use this to figure out your wiring. I said, hey, I could. So my daddy gave it to me, and I'm keeping it. And my dad and I also did a lot of houseboat repairs on the side. We'd go to the actual marinas, put new decks on, doing electrical work, plumbing, whatever needed to be done. And I'm a certified advanced open water diver, scuba diver. So oftentimes I'll scuba dive under the docks or under the boats and check out, you know, where the leaks may be coming from the prop shafts or something like that. And another detail about the kitchen is that right here, these are set up on slides. They come out like that right there. I can't pull them both out at the same time because I don't have it fastened to the body right here yet. If I pull them both out at the same time, it goes right on out there. And that's built mostly out of scrap 2x4s I had laying around the house here. I started framing it up for that Coleman, and then I come across that breakfast station right there. I kind of like that better because it's much more versatile, and I've got my meters and stuff like that I'm gonna hook up and see how much amp load that thing pulls, so I can do the calculations on how much amp hour capacity I need to do everything I need to do. Because we're gonna have that, lights, and hanging off this right here, that support bar on the ceiling is gonna be one TV, if not two. Why the heck you gonna have two TVs? These particular TVs are 12 volt and they have DVD built into them. But that doesn't answer the question why I'm gonna have two. Well, let me give you guys a little well, it's like this. Me and my ADHD brain sometimes needs background noise when I'm working. So if I'm traveling, I'm chilling back here, and I've got a movie going on one screen, I can have my HDMI cables coming from my laptop to the other screen, have a split screen setup to where I'm editing videos, things like that, where I may have a movie going on for just the background noise. Sometimes my squirrely brain just kind of needs that background noise to be productive, and that makes no sense. Don't know how many times I've said edit a video, have a movie on, but I couldn't told you a doggone thing about that movie. I just need the background noise. Now you can see up front right here, this is where the dash used to be, because there's the busted windshield that I need to replace. This is going to be the headboard area, obviously, because you got your switches there close to you, but I'm going to have USB ports for charging your cell phones, 110 volt access up here to plug up my laptop, HDMI cable up here to plug the HDMI cable from my laptop into that to my TVs. Now, one video I released not long ago was replacing the power window motor in this door right here. I am going to keep my power windows intact. Over here on the driver's side, obviously, is your master switch panel that controls all the windows. So I'm going to find the master wire that goes into all that powers all my other power windows, so I can hook it to the battery and control if I want to roll my windows up and down from over there using my factory switches. Well, of course I'm going to make a video on that. That's why I do YouTube, to give you guys the education. That little motorcycle battery right there, that's what I'm using to test everything. I picked that little battery up off of Amazon for less than 20 bucks. And that thing has been so handy at figuring out all the electricals going on with this, because that little battery right there is actually strong enough to run the power window motors. When it comes to doing 12 volt diagnostics and building harnesses, having a small compact battery like that is so handy. Now here's the 2x4 right here that's going to be holding up the bed mattress, and here is the plywood that's kind of pre-cut, but I need to contour it to my wheel wells so it slides all the way over. I haven't got that done yet. But what's going to happen is it's going to extend over a little bit. It's going to be really close to the door panels and stuff, but still giving me room to reach my power window motors or power window switches. Once it's all said and done, that frame and everything will accommodate a full-size mattress. Not only that, it's going to be just enough room under the framework of the bed to have a little bit of storage. Now, there's some of you out there who have built rigs like this right here, get all tore up because you want to cut out the transmission tunnel. I have not cut out the transmission tunnel yet. I'm not saying I won't ever, but I'm saying not yet. If you cut out the transmission tunnel and do all the sheet metal work to flatten out the bottom right there, it will give you a ton more space. And honestly, because these rigs have what you call unibody structure under the bottom of it, losing the transmission tunnel, you're not going to lose a lot of strength with inside the body. I just didn't want to cut the transmission tunnel out just yet. I'm going to run it as is. If I see I need more storage up front, I may go that route. But honestly, if I don't have the storage, it's less likely for me to be a pack rat and stuff a bunch of junk underneath, increasing the overall weight of the trailer itself. Because I'm setting this up to where I hope my YJ pulls it good and comfortable. I know my Tahoe will. And the YJ, I've pulled it with the YJ already. It pulls good. I mean, as far as pulling it down the road, that's the easy part. Stopping is always the hard part. It stops pretty good, but I can definitely feel it pushing my YJ. Now, my YJ does have rear disc, and it stops a lot better than it did before. It has an 8.8 swap in the back of it. When I did the 8.8 swap, I got a rear end out of Explorer that had the rear disc brake set up. Going to the 8.8 rear with the rear disc, not only has it made it stronger over the Dana 35, but it made a big difference in the braking capacity. And as I said earlier in the video, I do know the tongue weight on this thing, but I don't know the overall weight of it as it sits right now. Of course, once you add everything in, it's going to increase weight. But once I get most of this framed out, I have someone who's going to allow me to use their scales to drive across. Then as I build into it, I'll just weigh each part I put into it. That way I can keep track of the total weight. And no, I'm not keeping those ugly steel wheels because I'm going to be using these. But going from those factory steel wheels to the factory aluminum wheels didn't go quite as easy as I thought it was going to. I'm working on a video explaining all that because I had to put longer lug studs in this thing to accommodate the thicker wheel from a steel to an aluminum. But that wasn't the only reason I had to do it, because I ran into a little situation that you guys out there swapping wheels on XJs need to know about. That video is coming really soon, so I've got most of that footage already shot. Phew, I feel better. That thing was just bugging me hanging down like that. I just have it clipped on those little things right there that used to hold the factory overhead console, PC, and whatever you want to call that thing. I'm going to have a brighter light there, and I got one right there on the speaker pods back here. And as I mentioned earlier, I showed you these little LEDs right here. That's running around the perimeter of the inside right there. I really want to find some kind of frosted tubing or something to put that inside of, because I'm not a fan of LEDs just showing exposed. I want to cover up all this right here, so when these LEDs are shining through some kind of frosted tube or cover or something like that, it gives a better visual look instead of just being big bright spots binging at you. And I'm not going to tell you guys what, but I've got a special thing I'm going to do with the headliner. Very, very, very cool. But Chuck, are you going to make a video showing how to cover up the headliner, put new material on it? Well, I sure am. Like I said, that's why I do YouTube, to help you. When I said I make videos for helping you, my brain went, hey boo-boo, do we got picnic baskets? Yeah, it does that. And obviously my busted windshield needs to be replaced. I've been meaning to go to the junkyard, find me an XJ, pull the windshield out of that, and switch into this one. And yes, there'll be a video on that as well. How to pull a windshield when you're in the junkyard. Then the video after that will be how to install a windshield in an XJ. Yeah. And up top, I'm going to have my kayak racks. And possibly solar. I ain't made up my mind on that part yet. Now I mentioned earlier I need longer lug studs because I'm using the factory XJ 8 3/4 axle under it. Yes, it's heavier than a trailer axle, but it's not as expensive as a trailer axle because, well, I've already got it. Now I could go down to your supply store and buy a trailer axle, put it underneath it. And I'm not saying that at one time or another I probably will, maybe, I don't know yet. But the only reason I would do that is for the sake of getting electric trailer brakes. But before I do that, I want to try something. Obviously, your factory rear brakes on the XJs are hydraulic brakes. Got the little wheel cylinders inside of them. So what if I got one of those hydraulic surge brake setups to replace that? Run my brake line down through there to the back. I kind of think it would work because your trailer brake wheel cylinders aren't much different from your automotive style wheel cylinders. I kind of think it'll work. And I've already got one in my shopping cart of Amazon. I just haven't ordered it yet. Unless some of you out there, your trailer people, want to sponsor one, I'd be good with that. Also, using the factory XJ rear axle, it's going to allow me to make a video showing you guys how to rebuild those drum brakes. Yeah. Then probably out of curiosity later on, I'll convert it to rear disc and see if that'll work with that surge brake setup. But kind of a fun experiment, honestly. So you'll get how to rebuild drum brakes, how to convert these to rear disc, which will also fall over the same line as your which would also be the same procedure as doing your YJs. See, think about you guys. Then I'll be cutting up and fabricating all that stuff myself. Ah, look, my dad's pulling in. There goes Dad. His TJ is a 2006 model. It's a 4.0 liter 6-speed. I want to say it's got 340,000 miles on it. It's been very well maintained, and she's been beat on a little bit because the body's got all kinds of scratches and dents on it. His TJ and my YJ both used to be farm rigs on the same farm. Same person owned them. He bought them both. Forget this. He bought the 2006 TJ running, driving. I would drive to California in that rig. It runs so good. And this one, he bought them both for $4,500. Yes, $4,500. I gave him his money back on this one right here. It became the star of the channel. And that 06, I've driven it all over the place. I mean, it's been many places. And it runs perfect. It's a great running rig. A little beat up. It's got a couple of dents, a bent fender. Like I said, it used to be a farm rig. Somebody run through a barbed wire fence because it's paint. So, but I mean, as far as mechanically being sound, it doesn't have an issue at all. So for those of you who've asked about Rust Bucket, yes, it's still a thing. I just kind of, I don't know, got lazy on that build, I guess. Started jumping on other things. So Rust Bucket's back in action. I just got to get a few parts off the CNC to start fabricating and doing a frame swap and all that kind of fun stuff. So there'll be some videos coming up on it, hopefully this summer. I don't know that I'll have it completely put together this summer because, well, I mean, I work a full-time job, so hey, I do what I can. But I just want to jump on here and make a quick video for you guys, letting you know that, hey, I'm still here. I've got this thing in the works. There will be videos coming out on it very soon. My 91's got projects coming out on it pretty soon, and of course putting Rust Bucket back in action because I want a beater rig that I can just totally slaughter out on the trails and not have to worry about it. I beat my 91 up pretty bad. I don't stress about it too much either, but I just want one to get absolutely stupid with. But 91, if I was to roll it right now, that it would probably upset me because it would pretty much total it out. I don't have a cage in it. Not to mention it probably wouldn't do me much good either. So I was looking at tubing benders not too long ago by getting one of those so I could start building a cage for a 91 YJ. Of course, Rust Bucket getting a cage as well. So everyone, you guys know what's coming up. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so when these videos are being released, you will be notified. So everyone, appreciate you guys hanging out. Peace. Later, y'all.